Okay. We're talking about the waving of a shlamim. That it has to be waved by the owners and by the kohen. So right on top of page 62, Samach Bais, it says Ketzadaisa. So, what part of the animal was waved? By a regular shlamim, by a shlamim of an individual, a private offering, an individual's offering. So it was waved after it was slaughtered. So after it's slaughtered, they could already dissect the animal and they would wave certain parts. Which parts? So it was the fats and the chazav b'shaik, the chest and the front leg. So Ketzadaisa, how is this done?
Why is it imurim the parts that are being sacrificed?
Imurim are those parts. It's the inner organs.
Is there a shirish to the word imurim?
I don't know. They always translate it for us the limbs, but it means the inner organs that were sacrificed.
Good. Okay.
Ketzadaisa, how is this done? Now. On the Rashi on the top that says, that was the Rashi on the top was from the last page. You put the inner organs, which is the fats, on the palm of the hand. Piece of siyad is the kaf yad. And then you put the chest and the front leg on top of them.
If you're bringing an animal, that's a pretty big. I don't know about the palm of the hand. You try to put a big animal, a shire.
Right. I can imagine. I believe it.
There were strong guys that could handle it.
Yeah, but a shlamim, I think they had options. I think it was also a sheep, so that could be a little bit easier. Whenever there's bread, the bread goes above this. Okay, heicha. Heicha means where.
This is not a mincha. Lechem is not a mincha.
No, there's bread. There's bread. It's referring to the bread of Shavuos, where you have the shtei alechem. Amar of Papa. Where do we find that the bread is above? He says b'miluim. By the miluim, it says that from the basket of matzahs that's in front of Hashem, you take one challah and one matzah and one chalas lechem shemen and one wafer, and you put it on top of the fats, on top of the sheikha yamin. Okay, whatever the case is, the bread is on top. There's a little confusion over there with what's on top, the sheikha, the fats. My timer, what's the reason? What's the reason that the chazav b'shaik, the chest and the front leg are above the fats? Eily, if we say mishum diksiv, because there's a pasuk sheikat shuma v'chazei tenufa ali sheach alavim yaviu lahanif tenufa, that it says the leg of waving and the chest of the leg of uplifting and the chest of waving, which is on the fats, is brought as a waving. So we see that it's on top. It's on top of the fats. V'haksiv, but we have another pasuk. It says esachelav ala chazeh. The fat is on the chest. Yivienu. You bring it. Yeah. So what's on top? Rashi in Chumash discusses this, the contradiction. Amar Abaya. So Abaya says, Hahu, that pasuk that says the fat is on top, the ma'isile koyen mibesamit b'chaim. That, you see, they had to slaughter it first. So the koyen slaughters it. Then they dissected it. When the koyen brings it, after it was slaughtered and dissected, he brings it to the person to wave it. So he has the fats on top of the sheikha yamin and the chest. And veramile, and when he puts it into his hands, he puts it down. When he deposits the fat on the bottom, so the chest is on the top and the leg is on top. Vaksiv.
A very nice logic.
But we have a problem, because the pasuk that says when it gets burnt, it says vayisimu sachalavim ala chazes, that you put the fat on the chest, and that's after this. So the Gemara says that's because he gives it back to another kohen, And when he gives it to another kain to take it to burn, and this kain takes it to burn. So why do we need all of this? What is this coming to show me? That you use 3 kainim. You could use 1 kain. The same kain that's waving it could be the one that brings it. Right. Well, yes, it's right. The same kain that's all rise. The same kain that's waving it could have been the one that burns it. It could be the one that brings it. No, b'reivam hadras melech. We use more people just to get it to look more beautiful for Hashem.
And that's why Moshe Bakar came.
Just in time, yeah. Come. Let's tell him about this seat later.
No. You sit down. Don't move.
Things I don't know.
You're a new member in the community. Amen.
Okay. There's 2 breads and there's 2 sheep that are brought on Shavuos. This is the first bread. This is the bread that's brought from the new wheat, and this is the 2 sheep that are brought on Shavuos. There were many sacrifices on Shavuos. The 2 sheep. Remember, we said we had another 7, and then we had possibly another 7, or if it's the same 7. There was a lot going on.
Not just about eating cheesecake.
Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in a brisa. Behinif hakayin oisam al lechem abikurim. Okay, the kain waves them, and he waves them on. This is the sheep. No, actually, it says twice. Behinif hakayin oisam al lechem abikurim tenufel l'fnei Hashem al shnei kvasim kodesh yel Hashem lakain. So Yachal Yaniach Kvasim Al Gabi Lechem. Over here it sounds like that he waves the bread above. He waves the sheep above the bread. It sounds like it's going to get squished, right? You have bread underneath. You have the sheep on top. Maybe that's the pshat, that you put the sheep on top of the bread. Talmud Laimar Al Shnei Kvasim. The pasuk concludes. If you look at the whole pasuk, it says that he waves them on the bread, waving in front of Hashem on the 2 sheep. So it can't be that the bread is on top of the sheep, because it says, it can't be that the sheep is on top of the bread because it says on the 2 sheep. So iyal shnei kvasim, if it's on top, the bread is on top. Yachal lechem al gabi kvasim, that sounds like the bread is on top. Tam leimar al lechem abikurim, that the sheep are on top, on the bread. The sheep are above the bread. So nishtakel akasav. We've reached equilibrium. We have nothing. We have no way of determining this. It's equal here. It's equal there. We have 2. It's an equal contradiction. We have no way of determining this. What do we find everywhere? That the bread goes above the meat. So afkan over here it's alive. Afkan lechem l'mayla. Over here also the bread is going to be above. Good morning. Good morning. Come.
Oh,
Gemara says, oh, beautiful. Gemara says, thank you. Gemara says, Heicha, where do we find that the bread, we just said that the bread, when they wave the bread and the sheep, we said that the bread is in 62A, and I don't know which A what, but 62A. Which number A? Well, what do you have there? You have A something?
We're just hitting A2. We're
We're still on
A1.
A1. So yeah, 62. Turn it back until that line is up on the top. That moves up. Where do we find that the bread is on top? Amar of Papa b'miluim. We find it by the inauguration sacrifice that we mentioned earlier. And when the tabernacle was being inaugurated, they put the breads on top of
But
the.
is that Matzinu b'chol makom lachem?
I think there's only one other place. It's only one place.
So that's.
It means like, where do we find?
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Rabbi Yosi ben Meshulam Aimer. Rabbi Yosi ben Meshulam says, "Kvasim l'mayla." The sheep are waved above the bread. It means the bread is on the bottom. Mani mekayim al shnei kvasim. So what do I do with the verse that says that it was done over the two sheep, that the bread were over the two sheep? It says lohitzi shiva. It says al shnei kvasim means that it's done together with the two sheep. It's excluding the other 7 sheep that came along with it. And those other 7 sheep are not waved. Okay. Chanina ben Chachina Yomer. I recognize that name from Pirkei Avos. He says, no, someone that stays up all night, Hanir Balayla, walks alone in the right, something like that. He's the one, I think, the one that said. So Chanina ben Chachina Yomer. I had a teacher, Rabbi Yisrael Rubin from Albany. He's very into the names, who's who, and he quotes other sources from them to understand what they're doing. And, okay, so Chanina ben Chachina Yomer miniach shtei alechem ben yarchisayim shel kvasim u'meinef. What's going on here is we have a contradiction. How it's waved. One pasuk says that the bread are on top of the meat. The other pasuk says on top of the sheep. The other pasuk says that the sheep are on top of the bread.
That's how we got the sandwich.
So Chanina ben Chachinai says that that's actually done as a sandwich because you lay him down and you put it in between his 2 thighs. So it's like a sandwich. So you have the meat on the bottom and the bread is above it, and then you have the meat on the top and it's above the bread. And then you'll be able to fill the 2 verses. Lechem al gabi kvasim, kvasim al gabi lechem. Amar Rabbi. This is Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. He says to him, you would never do that to a king. To put the bread between the thighs, that's how you're going to offer it. It says, you're going to do this for Hashem. It's not appropriate to put bread right over there. Rabbi says you just put it side by side and you wave it. But that the whole discussion was that it needs to be on.
Right.
The Gemara asks, "V'bi'inan al." What are you doing with al? Means on top. Amali Rav Chisda le Rav Hamnuna, v'amri lo Rav Hamnuna le Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says to Rav Huna, and some say Rav Hamnuna said to Rav Chisda. You see, there was a conversation. People were listening. They didn't remember who said what, but they knew that it was a conversation. Rav Chisda was very fond of Rav Hamnuna. Rav Chisda tells Rav Huna, he says that Rav Hamnuna is a great person. So he says, okay, when he comes to town, I bring him to me. I want to talk to him. So he comes to town, he brings him, and he sees that he wasn't wearing something over his head. He says, how come you're not wearing it? You're not married? So they talus over the head or something. So he says, no, he's not married. So Rav Huna doesn't want to look at him. So the Gemara over there says that Rav Chisda says the fact that I got married at 16, that's why I'm better than my friends or something. If I would have gotten married at 14, right? I would have put an arrow. Listen, remember that story because it's going to come back to us a little different. So anyway, Rav Hamnuna and Rav Chisda were fond of.
So Rabbi actually argues on all this, on the Tana Rabbana Lechem Bikurim Al. He has a different opinion? Completely different on everything?
Okay. Definitely on the Shnei Kvasim. The question is if he's arguing also on the Shalma Yachid. The Shalma Yachid was sort of resolved. The Shalma Yachid was resolvable. We said that there were 3 Kayanim. So it went from the Kayan with the fats on the top to the Kayan that was waving it to the fats on the bottom, back to the Kayan that was offering it.
So he's arguing on that?
So I don't know if he's arguing on that.
But on Lechem Bikurim he is.
That's clear.
Okay.
See, that's the type of question that the Rishonim would discuss. That I have to look into it, but it's logical. You could pull it this way, you could pull it that way. Rebbe L'Tamei, the Gemara answers. Rav Hamnuna says, or Rav Chisda says, Rebbe goes according to his reason. Damar al besamach. Al does not need to be on top. Al could also mean next to. The Tanya was taught in the Braisa. When asat al amrachas, you put on the arrangement Levayna Zaka. Rebbe Yomer al besamach. It doesn't mean on top of the bread. It means on the table, on the bottom. Ata Yomer al besamach. You say that al means next to. Ela al mamish. Maybe it means actually on top of all the breads on the top. There's a great proof. It says that you will cover over the aron, the pareiches, the curtain. The curtain goes over the aron. It doesn't go over the aron. It's a curtain in front of the. Kavayomer al besamach must mean that al could mean.
So according to Rebbe, all al is besamach, or
possibly
only when it's illogical?
I don't know. That's your question. It doesn't mean always. It doesn't mean when I have to translate it like that.
Right.
But it could mean that. Okay. Melech Umevi, Milo Merid. We were learning the whole time. We were translating Melech Umevi, that he goes this way. He waves it. It's a tenufa. He waves it front and back, and then Milo Merid, up and down. See Rashi over here, and based on the Gemara over here, says that it's actually waved like a lulav. You'll see. Amar Rab Chia bar Abba, Amar Rab Yochanan. Did I see that in the Rashi? See Rashi Melech Umevi? If anyone sees that Rashi Melech Umevi, it's a little bit above where we're holding in the Gemara. It says L'tzafin v'darim u'mizrach u'mayrav. So it means that it's in all directions.
It's all four.
All four directions.
Interesting. Because Melech Umevi just sounds like
right.
Straight backwards and forward.
It could be the pshat is that if you learn Melech, does Melech mean only one direction? Could be Melech means that you go this way and that way, and then Mevi means this way.
They said the lulav. How you molich the lulav? Could be like the same thing you molich now.
Right. But I'm asking in the words Melech and Mevi, is it ignoring the side to side, or does Melech mean this way and back? Mevi means this way and that way. Maybe I don't know. No, we have to look at that up.
Amen.
So Rab Chia bar Abba says the name of Rabbi Yochanan. That's a very common, very frequent combination of teacher-student. Whenever we have Amar Rabbi, Amar Rab Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, we know that's the teacher. If it says Mishum Rabbi Yochanan, then we know that he's not really a student of him. He just heard it in his name, but wasn't direct. So Rab Chia bar Abba, a student of Rabbi Yochanan, says Melech Umevi. You move it in the different directions. L'misha ruche shalai, to the one who has the, I don't know, does ruches is translated as wind or sides?
כל הרוחות זה 4 דפנות, כמו שאתה מנהל את הרוחות.
דפנות or wind?
No, רוחות זה דפנות, זה כל
What do you have over there in the English?
Okay, let me read in the cheating sheet here.
Directions.
What does it say?
Directions.
To the directions. Okay. To the one who the directions, that means to Hashem. Who the 4 directions are his. Maila umayrid, you bring it up and down. L'misha shemayim v'aretz shalai, to the one who the heaven and earth are his. Okay. It's a symbol of to Hashem. B'ma'arava masnu. I was surprised when it says this. In Eretz Yisrael they taught. Reb Chia bar Abba and Rabbi Yochanan are in Eretz Yisrael. This Rabbi Yochanan is Eretz Yisrael.
And maybe the Bala Gemara.
Oh, has another source.
No, but I'm saying Rav Ashivami wrote the Gemara. They wanted to. Okay.
Well, there's a Gemara that says who each person is. B'ma'arav Amri. There's a Gemara in Erevin that says that when it says B'ma'arav Amri, it's referring to I forget Rabbi Loza or something. When it says This person, without the name, it tells us who it's talking about. Okay, Marav Masnach. I'm Rab Chama bar Ukva. I'm Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina. Meilach Umevi, you bring it to the four directions, Kadei La'atzer Ruches Reis, to stop the bad winds. Meila Meirid Kadei La'atzer Tlalim Raim, you bring it up and down as a protection, to protect you from the bad dews.
Winds.
So here, Ruches for sure is
For
not.
sure means wind.
Just had a lot of wind there in Tallahassee, no?
Right.
A lot of wind.
Right. I'm Rabbi Yosef bar Rav Avin, Zoyse Meres. Rabbi Yosef bar Avin says, this tells us that Shiari Mitzvah Makvanas Apranas, that even secondary parts of Mitzvah protect from Pranas. Why is it secondary? Because the Tenufa Shiari Mitzvah, Tenufa, the waving is Shiari Mitzvah. Because even if you don't do the Tenufa, the sacrifice is still valid.
It's not Menachem.
It's not Menachem. So even things that aren't Menachem are still protections. This is a big musar that you think like, oh, I did the main thing.
You already
but
learned
those
the
details,
part that it's not Menachem? It's already, you learned it before?
No, we didn't mention that. It's
Okay.
that's our first reference to it here.
Okay.
It's secondary to the mitzvah, and it still stops the bad winds and the bad dews. Amar Rabba. V'chein lulav. Rabba says the same is with lulav. Now, does this mean that it protects, or does this mean that you wave it in the same way? Yeah, you wave it in the same way. That's what Rashi learns.
So that's the reason we check the lulav for 6.
Right.
Understand what?
Rav Acha bar Yaakov, Mamtile Yemaisile, he would bring it back and forward, Umachvi Hachi, and he would show it like this, he would point it outward, the lulav, like a spear, and like an arrow. V'amar Gira be'ena de sitna. It says this is like I'll poke you in the eye, Satan.
Yeah.
Balav milsehi, but this is not correct. Mishum dasila skuribe, because you're starting off with him.
Don't start with
What is it called when you're provoking the Satan?
He could do it, not anybody else.
Maybe I didn't look into this. Maybe Rav Acha bar Yaakov is the one that went to Abaya's yeshiva. The Gemara Kedushin says that Rav Acha bar Yaakov went to Abaya's yeshiva, and Abaya told everyone not to let him in to stay, so he had to stay in the Bais Medrash. And over there was a demon that was harming the people, and Rav Acha bar Yaakov got rid of them by every time he bowed down to Hashem, one of the heads of the demon went away. So he was, I think,
Holy,
strong.
holy.
I'm making this connection. I didn't see it in the.
Jeffrey.
Okay, but that comment before that Rav Chisda said that if I would have gotten married at 14, I would have said poked Satan in the eye. That was Rav Chisda, but he didn't actually say it because he got married at 16.
There's something interesting. It says when he would bring it hachi. Here in English it says he would bring the bottom of the lulav close to his heart, with its top pointing outwards.
Right, like this,
But he would bring it close to his heart, and only in Lubavitch we bring it to the heart.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Nobody else brings it to the heart.
Yeah, but we bring it to the heart up. You bring in.
I understand that he did it, but I'm saying the fact that he brought it to his
It's a
heart.
good source.
Yes.
This is a source.
Because only in Lubavitch they bring it back to the heart. Everybody else goes straight.
Right. No, that's a source. This is a source. The Gemara says. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a brisa. Zivchei Shalmi Tzibur. The communal shlamim, which are brought on Shavuos. Tu'unin tenufa lacha shchita, u'tenufa k'may shehein devri Rabbi. You see, these two sheep are waved when they're alive, and they're waved after the shchita. When they're waved when they're alive, obviously it's the whole animal, it's alive. When it's waved after the shchita, is it waved the whole animal? Or is it waved the way that we wave the Shalmei Yachid, the private animal, which was the fats with the front leg and the chest? Rebbe says that Kamei Shehein, you wave them exactly like you did before, the whole animal, just that now it's dead, was shecht. Now it's shechted, and before it was alive, but it's the whole animal. Chachamim Maimrim b'chaz v'sheik. No.
Missing the head.
Yeah, they didn't cut it off, but it was missing the connection. You know, the Chachamim say no. You wave it like you wave the private shlamim. B'may kamiflagi. What's the machlokes? Isn't it interesting? We have the same combination here twice. Bidun minei minei, bidun minei v'ki basrei kamiflagi. There's a very interesting machlokes. To explain it, probably the best explanation would be the answer. It would be the example that we use. Dun minei minei means that where are we learning this from? We're learning this from the Shalma Yachid, the Shlamim of an individual. And over there you do the Chazon HaShoik, just the chest and the leg. And now we're taking it back to the Shalmei Tzibur. And do I keep it intact, what I learned? Do I keep the lesson intact? Or do I take the lesson that I learned and then apply it to the way it works by the Shalmei Tzibur? So how did I wave the Shalmei Tzibur before? I waved it whole. So I take a lesson, just like by Shalmei Yachid. I waved it after it was dead. Also afterwards over here I wave it after it's dead. But how do I wave it? Do I keep it intact from the lesson, from the teaching, that it's just the Chaz of a Shaykh? Or do I reapply it to the new situation here and wave it intact, wave it, the whole animal, the way I did before, which when it was alive, it was the whole animal. Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan hold dun minei uminei, that we learn from it and we keep it intact. Yeah.
So according to Rabbi, after shechita you take the entire animal.
Yeah, and you wave the whole animal.
Before it's chopped up, or it's just shechita?
before. הארון שהיה מניף את הפר.
I don't know, but it means the whole animal. I don't know if it's before or after. I don't know.
Like Aaron HaKohen, what he used to do, he used to take the whole par himself.
Yeah, that we did as well.
Alive.
That we did also.
That I understand.
Let me see
about
if the comment
right now, he
says
says
anything.
The entire animal is waved, but we already severed the head from the soul.
I don't know if it's entirely severed, but okay, let's say it is. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't put it on top. It could be that it's put on top. Let's see, the Gemara doesn't clarify exactly that point. So, but Rabbanan hold Maziv Shalmei Yachid Tunin Tunufalacha Shchita, just like the Shalmei Yachid, the private offering, the private shlamim, is waved after the slaughtering. And what is waved? Just the Chaz of a Shaykh. So, Avziv Shalmei Tzibur Tunin Tunufalacha Shchita. Just also too the Shalmei Tzibur, the communal sacrifice on Shavuos, the 2 sheep, are waved after the shechita. Uminei.
What was behind the waving?
The purpose of the waving was like we wave a lulav. It's to stop the bad winds in Tallahassee, and it's a mitzvah. But what it accomplishes is all these protections. So uminei, and we keep it the same. Ma hasim b'chaz v'shaik, af hachanami b'chaz v'shaik. Oh, just like over there where we're learning it from, it was just the chest and the thigh. So to here, Rabbi Savar dun minevu ki basrei. No, you learn from it, but then you reapply it to the new situation. Just like the private offering was done after shechita. So too, this one needs waving after it's slaughtered. However, v'uki basrei, but you reapply it to its new location. Hasam hu dechaz v'shaik. Over there, I did the chest and the thigh. Aval hacha k'may shehein b'chayim. But over here, I do it as it was alive. What is that? Aleph, yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to take that out. Okay. Aval hacha k'may shehein. Rav Papa Amar. Okay, so we understand the machlekes Rabbi and the Chachamim and the Rabbanan is if you take a teaching and you reapply it, or you have to keep it in its intact form, which is interesting. Rav Papa Amar, the Kuli Alma Dun Minei Uminei. Rav Papa says everyone holds that if you take a teaching, you're supposed to keep it intact. That's a problem. Why does Rabbi say that you wave it the whole animal? Behind the time with the Rabbi. So what's the explanation for Rabbi? Ki hasam. It's just like over there. It's exactly the same. We are keeping it intact. Ma hasam davar shematana lakayin. Just like by a regular private individual's offering, what goes to the kayin is only the chest and the thigh. So avacha davar shematana lakayin. Here also, what goes to the kayin, which is the whole animal. So we are keeping it intact. You have to know how to translate it, but it's still the original teaching. Ravina says exactly the opposite. Who explained this first? Who was the first person? Oh, that was Rav Chisda. So it jumps a generation. It jumps 2 generations. Rav Papa is a student of Rava. Ravina says, Ravina is the end of the Amoraic period. Everyone holds that you don't keep the teaching intact. You have to reapply it to the new situation. So the problem is, so why do the rabbis say that you just wave the chest and the thigh? Behind the time of the Rabbanan, the reason is Shal Mehem Ribuyahu. It says, when you wave the shlamim, it says a plural shlamim. It doesn't have to be plural. Why is it plural? It's coming to include also the community shlamim that it's waved with the chazav v'shay. That's just waved like that. But normally, you always have to reapply the teaching to the new situation. Okay. Reb Shimon Omer Shleisha Minim Tu'unim Shalish Mitzvahs. Reb Shimon said that there's 3 sacrifices that have 3 mitzvahs, but each one only has 2 of them. So, Shtayim b'chol echad, u'shlish yisein b'hem, ve'elohein.
So each one only requires 2? It has 3?
There are 3 mitzvahs.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 sacrifices. The Shalmi Yachid, Shalmi Tzibur, and the Asham Mitzayra. Those are 3 sacrifices. There's 3 mitzvahs: waving it alive, waving it after it's dead, and also smicha. And 2 of these 3 are going to be applied to each one.
Got it.
Almost like a riddle.
I don't know why. To me, I'm imagining that they have like these hanachas tefillin or something, and we pass around a plate of cake. They say every boy can take 2. They have 3 options, and every boy you have to choose 2 of the 3. That's how I'm envisioning this.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you associate it with food, you remember it more longer. I saw a mimer from the Mittler Rebbe. He says that big meals you remember for a very long time. Like if you think about it, you remember the soup at your bar mitzvah or something. You know what I'm saying? You can go back so long just with meals. That's probably what we're supposed to do in Eily. When you go back to remember the year, you remember the year via food. Say, what did I have in the sukkah? What did I have? Cheshvan, Chav Cheshvan, what was the Fabrangan?
It's like when I play music at the end.